It's hundreds of amateur fights, former world champion, only lost to AJ and Klitschko, you know what I mean? His last fight in Saudi showed that he's still got a lot left in the tank. And he's very dangerous. He's got one hell of a hook on him and a shot overhand right that he throws. And it's very dangerous, you know what I mean? So he's motivated. He's been motivated to fight me as well, considering seeing the last shape I was in for my last fight and stuff. So, you know, yeah. And I got a respect for him as well, you know. As you can see, even in Saudi, made him look a good picture of us smiling and laughing. But that's how boxing is, unfortunately. I ain't got no beef with the guy, but I'm onto maximum violence stuff. Straight animal instincts. I want to be heavyweight champion of the world. So anywhere in the world is my lion's den, man. You know, whether it's in the UK, Manchester, wherever. You know, if you aspire to be a heavyweight champion, you shouldn't have a favorite place to fight. You should want to fight everywhere in the world if you can. So, but Manchester's always great. They're great fight fans. They're very knowledgeable people as well. So I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Very dangerous. Beat Hughie Fury. Caused Joshua a hell of a problem 8 months ago, if that much. Just went with Hunt. They're supposed to be this.
Ladies and gentlemen, right now the heavyweight division is absolutely one of the hottest divisions in all of professional boxing. And as sure as we stand here today in Manchester, England, all 4 of the major titles reside here in the United Kingdom. You know, in recent memory, this has got to be one of the best, or should I say, most violent times in the heavyweight division. And just announced yesterday, a new mouth-watering heavyweight clash that's going to be taking place right here in Manchester on May 2nd. So here to tell you all about it, the man that put it together, the president of Matchroom Boxing, Mr. Eddie Hearn.
Thank you, David. Stellar job as always. Part 2 of today here in Manchester, and what a fight. Dillian Whyte against Alexander Povetkin for the WBC Interim World Heavyweight Championship, live and exclusive on Sky Sports Box Office. The response in this fight in the last 24 hours has been incredible, and we'll talk more about the fight and, of course, the importance of the heavyweight division right now, which will always be the flag in the last 24 hours for the professional code. 3 months ago, all of the belts with the PBC in America. Now, of course, all of those belts in Britain with Tyson Fury against Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. This man to my right, Dillian Whyte, the official mandatory challenger for Tyson Fury. But will he wait? Will he take the easy fights? Absolutely not. When I sat down with him at the start of the year, I said to him, what do you want this year other than world titles? And he said, I would like maximum violence. And it scared me a lot, I won't lie. But I thought about what kind of card and what kind of fight could deliver that. And when I talked about Alexander Povetkin, Dillian Whyte licked his lips. You know, 2 of the best left hookers in the sport, 2 top 10, in my opinion, top 5 heavyweights in the world right now. 2 guys who have been involved in huge nights, huge fights. 2 guys that can punch, 2 guys that have great chins, 2 guys that aren't afraid to trade, 2 guys that have consistently given fans value for money again and again. And if Dillian Whyte wasn't popular enough for the kind of fights that he takes, I would like to tell fans about a text message I shared with him yesterday where I turned around and I said, I've looked at these ticket prices and they're too cheap. And he said, leave them as they are. Let's give people value for money. Let's sell this place out. And the last time we came to Manchester, you remember what Dillian Whyte gave you. He gave you a fight with Derek Chisora that we will never, ever forget. We have a monstrous card coming in, including one fight, which I want to tell you about, but I'm waiting for the contract to hit my email. We will announce the full card prior to general sale, which is this Friday. Before we speak to both camps, I'm going to pass on to a guy who now has a stellar schedule in front of him, and of course, 2 massive heavyweight nights and another to be added next week. Head of boxing for Sky Sports, Adam Smith.
Thanks, Eddie. I can't wait for that other fight as well, mouth-watering. But this is about the heavyweights, and the heavyweights come back to Manchester. What a fight that was between Dillian and Derek on the Anthony Joshua card a few years back. We've had Mike Tyson come here, of course, David Haye. It's a heavyweight city for boxing, and I think that's great from Dillian about the ticket prices, because let's see it absolutely rammed on May the 2nd. What a time for heavyweight boxing. Anthony Joshua reclaiming his titles out in Saudi Arabia. I was then fortunate enough to be in Vegas a couple of weeks ago for the brilliant performance from Tyson Fury. to beat Deontay Wilder for the first time. So yeah, all the belts under British hands, all the titles. But let's not forget Dillian. You know, Dillian's waited very, very patiently. He's been a mandatory for a long time. He often feels he's left out, and he came into our offices in January and he said, this is my year, this is my time. I want the biggest and best fights. And listen, this guy Alexander Povetkin next to us, we know about his utter pedigree and his quality throughout. From Olympic gold medalist to reigning as a world champion. You know, only those 2 defeats to Vladimir and to Anthony Joshua. That victory over Michael Hunter again, he came over, we saw what he did to David Price. He's so aggressive, he's so exciting. I think the styles are going to gel fantastically well between Dillian and Alexander on May the 2nd. It's a really important fight night, particularly for Dillian as he moves forward. He's going to get that opportunity. And I tell you what, I'll do everything I can personally to help him with that. I know there's all the talk of we're going to get the trilogy. AJ's going to fight Pulev. It's fantastic. And maybe, yeah, AJ Fury will be the biggest fight we've ever seen. But Dillian has to play a part in this. He's going to get his chance soon. And I will do everything I can, Eddie, and I hope you do too, to try and make sure he gets that, because I think he deserves it. But he's got business to take care of first on May the 2nd. It's not going to be easy. But then, he never does anything easy.
Thank you, Adam. We go to Team Povetkin first of all. Max, welcome. Again, this seems like home for Alexander Povetkin. Of course, our partnership with World of Boxing. We saw the huge fight at Wembley against Anthony Joshua. You saw him defeat Hughie Fury at the O2 Arena, box on the Saudi Arabia card as well. We know you and Mr. Rybinski at World of Boxing, huge boxing fans. This is one hell of a fight.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here again. Thank you to Eddie, to Matchroom Boxing, all the staff. Big pleasure to working with you. As Eddie said, we just discussed it yesterday that Sasha fought on the biggest arena in UK, so it's like a part of his history. There is nobody from the Russian fighters who fought in an 80,000 venue, so this is make his, you know, historical person. So I want to say thank you to Dillian Whyte to taking this fight. And not, you know, waiting his world title shot with the easy fighters, but you know, it will be difficult fight for him, because you know, Sasha will not lose his chance this time, so it will be a tremendous fight on the 2nd May. Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you, Max. We go switch to the Dillian Whyte team. Mark. Of course, another crazy fight, a real throwback fight at Dillian Whyte. At times you must sort of think to yourself, look at all these fights that he's been involved in time and time again, and again, a massive test. Maybe one of the biggest tests of his career so far on June the 20th. May the 2nd. Huge fight for him against Alexander Povetkin. Well schooled, great amateur pedigree as well, and very dangerous.
He's very dangerous, I ain't got to tell you. You know, you said it all yourself. He's got a very highly decorated amateur and pro career, but this is I feel this fight for Dillian is very, very important, and it's a one that's going to get his juices flowing. I feel that it's going to be the birth of the all-rounder, of the box fighter, the birth of a completed fighter, so to speak. So by no way or means we ain't going to underestimate. We don't underestimate anyone, but we can't even shut our eyes with Alexander Povetkin, and these guys shouldn't either. So it's going to be a proper humdinger. But I feel three ways to beat this guy, whether it's going forward or going back, or standing there and planting our feet and letting them go. But we've got to be the dominator in all them 3 areas, and I feel we get our tactics right, we do a good job on a decent human being and a great contender over the years. Yeah, for sure.
I saw Sky's promo yesterday. We were talking about the battle of the left hooks, which was a great promo. Probably 2 of the best left hookers in the division as well.
Yeah.
Both can punch, both like to stand and trade, but technically, with Alexander Povetkin, maybe one of the strongest technical fighters that Dillian has faced in his career so far.
For sure. I mean, Povetkin can smell what you're going to do. He's vastly experienced. He can control pace. But I'm very confident in my man Dillian Whyte that it's his time now, and he will be the dominator and the man who could control pace and box fight very, very intelligent and dissect and diffuse all them guns he's got.
And finally, last year, nightmare year. Great to end it with the win in Saudi, even though you poured too much water into his mouth and his clip as well. How good is it to draw a line under that? And this year feels like a real fresh start and a very exciting 2020.
Oh, it's amazing. It's it was a very, very tough year for all, really. Especially this man here. But like you say, Saudi was a real blessing. You guys looked after us. It was great out there, and done a wonderful job again. But this is, as I said before, this is the birth of the complete fighter in Dillian Whyte. Yeah, it's going to be a great night.
Thank you, Mark. Sasha, welcome. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you over the years. You have never, ever turned down a fight. You have actually so many similarities to Dillian Whyte in that respect. Always up for challenges, always up for war. This is a fight you must be very excited about.
Я очень рад находиться в Великобритании. Я считаю, что здесь хорошая публика, сильные боксеры. Я очень рад, что буду боксировать с Уайтом, потому что это, я считаю, один из сильнейших боксеров с хорошим, сильным ударом и с хорошей техникой.
I'm very happy to be back in the UK because people are very good and very knowledgeable with regards to boxing, and I'm looking forward to my fight with Dillian. Dillian is a very strong opponent.
Alex, obviously Dillian Whyte now, WBC Interim World Champion, mandatory position to Tyson Fury right now. Feels like you have everything to gain in this fight and to take those things from him.
Как вы знаете, Dillian Whyte он промежуточный чемпион мира, и поэтому этот матч для него очень важный. Он очень многое может потерять, если проиграет.
Я это прекрасно понимаю. Для меня тоже это важный бой и интересный бой. Так что я отдам все силы и все сделаю, чтобы показать красивый и интересный бой.
I do understand that it is a very important fight for Dillian, but it is no less important fight for me. And I will do my best, apply all my efforts to make the match, this fight, interesting.
Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, Alex. Dillian?
No.
This was a fight that, like I said, you licked your lips at. You wanted maximum violence in 2020. Since we announced this fight yesterday, a lot of people, the fire emojis, the bomb emojis, the hand over face emojis. This is going to be an electric heavyweight fight.
Yeah, Alexander Povetkin's a great fighter. Top amateur, won loads of amateur medal, Olympic gold medalist, former WBA World Champion. He's only lost to two reigning champions at the time, obviously Klitschko and Joshua. Shows he can take a punch, he shows he can give a punch, against Klitschko. Klitschko hit him with everything, couldn't put him away. And early doors he had Joshua and problems as well, it just showed. Still got a lot left, started off slow against Hunter, but then came back strong in the fight, and I remember watching him fight Cedric Boswell when I had like about 3 or 1 fight or something. I remember watching him smashing Cedric Boswell to bits, and I seen Rahman, and I was like, wow, this guy is serious. And then now, it's my time to bring some maximum violence to him. Funny, real boxing, eh?
I think that obviously you want to be in those big fights. You want to give fans value for money and entertainment, but you seem to also want to test yourself against quality fighters. Same question to you that I said to Mark. This guy's got some serious pedigree. Maybe one of the most technically sound and well-schooled fighters you faced so far.
You know, unfortunately, I never had a long amateur career. I had 7 amateur fights. Everyone seemed to forget 28 professional fights. So for me, this is learning for me. This is learning. I'm just fighting these guys and learning. You know, he's been through the mill. He's seen every style, faced every style. I haven't. I'm still learning. I'm learning the job, obviously. I'm in the deep end swimming, so for me to fight these kind of guys is massive learning opportunity for me. And listen, I believe I beat them all anyway. I just got to be in shape, you know. As long as I leave the kicks alone, I'm good. So, you know.
Obviously, going into this fight, you are now the official mandatory challenger to
Good
Tyson
morning.
Fury.
This is the first
Talked
of 2
about that, the
streams
weight,
today.
etc. But how important is it to keep your eye on the ball, keep your eye on this? Because you've been waiting for such a long time. You should have had your shot by now, but slipping up now means that it all evaporates anyway.
You know, with me, I would go one fight at a time. I know all this stuff is floating around in the background, but Povetkin's a dangerous guy. You can never afford to overlook him. I'm not thinking about Tyson Fury, what's happening with him. I'm just thinking about Alexander Povetkin, you know, because he's dangerous and he's gonna want to come and fight and leave it all on the line. That's just in his DNA. It's one thing me and him is very similar in. When I look at him, I say we're very similar in that mindset of we'll come and we'll give it all, man. So I'm just focusing. I don't care about, you know, we'll see what happens on May 3rd. We'll have a chat about Tyson Fury and that. But for now, I'll put it on the back burner and just focus on Alexander Povetkin for the next 8 weeks.
And finally, a change of scenery for your big fights. Of course, Saudi last time, but before that, I think 3 fights consecutively at the O2 with Chisora, Rivas and Joseph Parker. Now back to Manchester. Great memories here. In fact, I think last time we did a press conference in Manchester, we were ducking tables and stuff like that. A little bit more here. We've bolted this one down.
I should throw one as a joke.
Great fight city. And, you know, when we looked at the venues and availability, and I told you about Manchester, you like the idea of boxing up here for fight fans.
I think to be a great heavyweight champion, you need to be comfortable fighting anywhere in the world, any venue up and down. You know, I've been on the road most of my career. Fought in America, fought in Saudi, I fought in Hull, I fought all up and down, you know what I mean? So I don't get comfortable in one place because you never know when the opportunity. At one stage I thought maybe I have to go to America and fight Wilder. So I just try to be comfortable in different situations and try not to just think, oh yeah, I want to be at O2. And, you know, you have to travel around and say your fans, different fans can see you and meet you at these presses and these weigh-ins and stuff. So yeah, you know, Manchester is a great city. Famous for good fights, and last time I was here, I fought up my skin, so I might have to do the same thing again come May 2nd. And it is what it is. I'm ready. You know, I'm in a much better place now, physically and mentally. I've been training's gone well, you know, and it's time for me to show the world what I can do once again.
Thank you, Dillian. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Max, Adam, and Mark as well. This fight, incredible fight. Dillian Whyte against Alexander Povetkin, WBC Interim World Heavyweight Championship, May 2nd, Manchester Arena, Sky Sports box office. Tickets will go on pre-sale tomorrow through Matchroom Boxing Fight Pass at 10 a.m. and on Friday at 10 a.m. as well. A great card with some great World Championship action and big fights as well to be announced before pre-sale on Friday. We look forward to a great night, and thank you two, for taking this fight and giving fans a real treat on May the 2nd. We're going to have a head-to-head now, and both guys are available to the media. Thank you.
Respect.
What's going on? We're not really going to talk too much, but looking forward to this fight. I'm wondering why Dillian Whyte always wearing these big ass clothes to press conferences. You know, he's got a. I hope he loses some weight, comes in smaller. He came in at, I think, 266 for his last fight. This is supposed to be for the interim WBC championship. Does it say WBO up there? Does it say WBC? Dillian Whyte is currently the WBC champ. Yeah, that say WBC, bro, not WBO. I gotta be honest, man. I've been avoiding streams because I really don't feel like dealing with the fucking ignorance of the fucking glove gators. The motherfuckers on some stupid shit. I watch, obviously, I cover all of his press conferences. I know that. I just want to know what the lore is behind it. That's all. But what's up? What's up with y'all? How y'all making out? How y'all making out? I gotta be honest with you, man. I am so sick of talking Wilder versus Fury. Let me tell you. You know, at least for now, because it's going to pick back up in April, you know, or May when they decide to do the launch press conference and everything. But I am tired of it. There's been a lot of dumb shit circling around. There's been a lot of people with sand in their vaginas, you know. Michael Hunter's likely going to be fighting Joseph Parker. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. It seems as though they're going to leave that Michael Hunter shit in the past. What up, H Money? Yeah, we're opening up the phone lines tonight. I've had some technical things to take care of behind the scenes. You know, like I said, I'll keep saying it. It's not easy being a one-man production team. You know, all the fine-tuning that's got to be done. You know, tune-ups every couple of months. Make sure everything all nice looking. So, what we're going to do is we're going to talk some Whyte versus Povetkin for the next, I guess, 9 minutes or so. And basically, if you don't know, he's the WBC Interim Champion. He won't be mandated to fight for the real title until February of 2021, which means he has to keep winning until the summer of 2021 until he gets his title shot. So as it stands right now, if you don't know, Fury versus Wilder 3 is confirmed for July the 18th of 2020 in Vegas. We don't know if it's still going to be a joint venture or not with Fox and ESPN. Likely it will be, because they think that the third fight is going to do better than the first fight. First fight between Wilder and Fury did around 1.1, or so million, 1.2, or so million pay-per-view buys across all platforms, including streaming. Dillian Whyte is taking on Alexander Povetkin. Alexander Povetkin's last fight was against Michael Hunter. Here, let's pull it up right now on the screen. Dillian Whyte right now has the best resume of active contenders and rivals the two active champions. Crazy. 27-1 with 18 KOs. Mariusz Wach was his last fight, comeback fight after he was dealing with the drug testing controversy. Oscar Rivas, he didn't really look too good. He fought Diriyah Chisora. Diriyah Chisora was winning that fight until he got knocked out, of course. The Joseph Parker fight, he was having issues in the second half of the fight. The Lucas Brown fight was on HBO. Robert Helenius in the fight I'll be covering this weekend is taking on Adam Kwanowski. Robert Helenius is on his last lax leg. Fuck a leg, he's on his last toe. He is on his last toe. I just covered their PBC countdown. Show some tape on who? You never seen Dillian Whyte fight? Or Alexander Povetkin? You tripping. You tripping. Povetkin has had a pretty bumpy road over the last few years. 35-2-1, 24 KOs. He is 40 years old. It's crazy how, Dillian Whyte was calling, Luis Ortiz old. But look at Povetkin. But then again, Luis Ortiz is really 50. Because he got that Cuban birth certificate. Or that new birth certificate once he hit the States. Michael Hunter, Hughie Fury, Anthony Joshua, David Price. That's a nice little run right there. People knew he was going to beat up David Price, but that's a nice little run. Price, Joshua, Fury, Hunter. Now Dillian Whyte. In my opinion, I had Michael Hunter winning from what I can remember. He's fought damn near every... Look how long he's been around. He fought Marco Huck. He fought Klitschko. He motherfucker fought Nikolai Further, who Deontay Wilder starched. Eddie Chambers. This motherfucker fought Chris Bird. I watched this. Wasn't this on HBO? I don't remember. Midday card? I do not remember. Povetkin has been around forever, yo. They're going to be announcing the undercard soon. I'm wondering. They're saying it's going to be a big fight. I'm wondering who's going to be on the undercard. Any possibilities? Any suggestions? Nah, Ortiz don't have the resume of Povetkin, no. Povetkin is always dangerous, especially in that first half of the fight. Always dangerous. Yes, the TstreeT podcast is coming. I've been, if you haven't noticed, I'm phasing out me doing, 3, 4, 5 videos a day. We've been really cleaning things up and making sure that our streams are more meaningful. For example, no more hour and 37-minute streams. It's either an hour or it's 2 hours, either or. We're making sure we're packing a lot of information in there as well, but I'm getting away from doing videos on every little thing. Unless there's a big fight announcement, or if I feel like doing a video on something, then I'll do an individual video. But we're phasing out from that shit, man. Press conferences, yeah, we're going to be here for all of those. We don't know who Luis Ortiz is fighting next. I wouldn't be surprised if it's, some type of build-up fight. I wouldn't be surprised. But here's the 100. I was going to say 100. Here's the heavyweight division. Let's break it down real quick for you. By the way, my rankings are up to date over at FightView360.com. So, of course, you have Tyson Fury, who's the WBC champion, taking on Deontay Wilder. We already talked about that. Anthony Joshua, WBA, IBF, and WBO heavyweight champion. You have Manuel Char, WBA World, who's going to be taking on Trevor Bryan, WBA Interim champion. The WBA ordered that, and I expect for that WBA Interim title to be freed up for somebody like Adam Kownacki to fight for, or Luis Ortiz. Kubrat Pulev and Anthony Joshua taking place, what's that, in June, right? June the 20th? Then the winner of that has to fade Usyk. If Usyk beats Derek Chisora, we don't know when that's supposed to happen. So when are they going to do that pay-per-view? Because if it takes place, do you think Usyk is going to fight in the UK? Or do you think that Usyk versus Chisora is going to take place here in the States? Because if they have this Whyte versus Povetkin on pay-per-view May the 2nd, and then they got Joshua versus Pulev June the 20th, I don't think that Usyk fight, unless they push it back even further, or I don't think they can make that pay-per-view over there in the UK. I don't think they can make that pay-per-view over in the UK. Andy Ruiz is supposed to be coming back in August, likely against Chris Arreola, but Adam Kownacki's name is also being thrown about, but I don't see that happening. That's not PBC-ish. PBC fighters don't take 2 tough fights back-to-back, especially after, losing one. That's just, that they never been like that. It's rare that that happens. So for Andy Ruiz, it's hard for me to see him fight Adam Kownacki in August. If Adam Kownacki beats Robert Helenius this weekend, of course. PBC on Free TV. Fox over in the UK is going to be on Box Nation. Oscar Rivas is signed with Top Rank. I wonder what's going on with Brian Jennings. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Oscar Rivas versus a Brian Jennings or the winner of a Dubois versus Joe Joyce, which is taking place in April. I'm really, really looking forward to that. You got Filip Hrgovic, who is also a matchroom fighter. Yo, the heavyweight division is deep. Also, a correction. Charles Martin fought in an eliminator, not a final eliminator to be the mandatory. So Charles Martin could be ordered to fight somebody like Adam Kownacki again to be the next mandatory after Pulev. So yeah, that was just a little bit of a breakdown. Tonight we're going to get into the real meat of things, no homo. Where we're going to talk, and finally wrap up Wilder versus Fury 2 and start moving on to, they possibly can do, I forgot Jennings fought Rivas. They could possibly do that again. I don't think they would, though. They won't do that. I forgot all about that, and I covered that fight. Shame on me. Shame on me. Top Rank has been signing up a lot of heavyweights, though, yo. Also, Otto Wallin was supposed to fight Lucas Brown, but don't be surprised if Otto Wallin fights a bigger fight because he pulled out of the Lucas Brown fight. And something's telling me he's got a bigger fight lined up. And he's probably going to get signed by somebody because his stock has risen. For him to go to distance with Tyson Fury and for Deontay Wilder to get stopped, Wallin's stock has went up. Ruiz versus Takam. Takam just had a fight recently. So yeah, that's wrapping that up. I really have no more else to say about this right now. And also, I got some other work to do behind the scenes. So we're going to be back later on tonight with a stream. And of course, this weekend, I'm going to be covering the fights, obviously. So I'm TstreeT Controversy with FightView360.com. I cover every single major fight live. Please subscribe.